Hi, this is a follow-up video on 2 weeks in, how my Atlas progression went, how the tree worked out, how mapping felt, etc. The different passive trees, and it was good. It was really good. I think my initial tree that I made the video for worked out really well, um, and I'm really happy I went with it. As you can see, I actually got 117 out of 117, which I've actually never done before, but I just had so much fun finishing completion and getting a skill point every time you did another map that I ended up doing all of it. I think the hard one is I leached off of someone's Dorianis because this map's usually like 3-4 exalts. So I would see if you could find someone like in whatever chat channel or online or something that just to leech off of this because it's not worth paying 3-4 exalts for 1 point, but it is worth having the point. So if you could find someone to just like sort of let you sit in the map, just don't take any loot, just I want the point at the end. That'd probably be the way to do that. Everything else was pretty cheap. And I pretty much only had to buy, I think, like 1 or 2 maps because I'm playing trade. But if I wasn't playing trade, it'd be easy enough to farm them, just doing like an adjacent map to repeat. It was like 2 or 3 total overall, and then the uniques, which were a little difficult. But if I was SSF, I probably have picked up like the unique map stuff to see if I can get more of them to finish it out. And Kirik offers them like occasionally, so it's not that big a deal. So for as you'll see, this is very different from what I posted because this is more of what I ended up on the 8 game end game, farming a bunch of different stuff all at the same time. But my initial progression was through the right side of the tree, and I was really happy with that. Um, Mostly because of the Nico missions that I knew I was going to want to do. Just because I like enjoying Delve on the side. It's my favorite of the mission content. I ended up I get only like 120 depth or something, but I usually just get to 100 and then start going sideways. That's just how I find Delve fun, and Darkness farming isn't really profitable because of how they changed fossils to pretty much drop from everything else. But um, I digress. Basically, the best part of Nico missions was this here, because I was already passing through the top, these 2 nodes, getting packed with energy. I would use this on progressing on reds with like really crap gear, and if I knew the map was going to be kind of hard, because you have to corrupt them, so you can't really like roll for good mods or whatever. Um, I would just throw an eco mission on it, and that gives you he spawns 3 of them. So it was 3% max res and about 100% increased damage and like 45% increased movement speed. Made the maps a huge easier to do when you have the max res and the increased damage. Made them a lot faster. So I really loved the combination of having the 4% here and the 1% here, plus the packed with energy. So this was a great way to path, especially starting and progressing on low gear. The strong box was pretty good. On the start, obviously it's annoying to have to roll them on the maps. So the initial one wasn't great. So I'd probably delay this next time until I was like closer over like to start doing here, and then immediately get this and then all of these. And then the Harbinger nodes were, as you can see, I'm still spec'd into them now, but initially they're terrible when you're just relying on this one additional Harbinger. The unspeakable offensive makes them like a lot more fun to fight, but the just having one Harbinger mech is terrible. You're getting like maybe half a chaos, half an alk like per map, and especially when you don't have these 4 nodes, it's just like really annoying to sort of sit there and wait for him to spawn the mobs to farm. So I think initially starting off, I definitely would not pick Harbingers again. I would probably just skip all of these. And then the other standout node, other than Packed with Energy, was this one here, Commissioned Officer, that I thought was going to be. I had a pretty slow start, so I could only play for like 3 hours on League launch on Friday. So it ended up taking me 2 days to finish the campaign, and then I got into maps. And because I was messing around and getting all this Harbinger and Strongbox stuff, it actually took until my second day into maps to actually path to this, which I think was a mistake. I think I should have pathed this right away. Um, I don't think I should have gone through here because it would have cost more points overall than doing this way. And also, I think the scouting reports, as I thought, ended up being kind of crap. And I got plenty of Kirak missions, so I wasn't too concerned with that. And maps drop like hotcakes, especially when you get all these nodes and all of these mapping nodes. It wasn't hurting for maps, and every time you do a Kirak mission, it refreshes his inventory. So I bought a lot of maps from Kirak. Sometimes it's like out of a premium, but whatever. It's worth paying him a little like 2 or 3 more chaos just to not have to engage with trade. Um, But yeah, it was really good. And then having just logging on each day and having a bonus Kirak mission really helped with progression. You don't have to wait for one to drop. You could just always get one every day. Especially if you're doing sort of like a more casual, I say casual, but like, within a week, I got most of it done. But casual being like not like hardcore streamer things, just like you know. I think no matter how you play, the one Kirak mission a day was really good. For pretty much until I was done with the Atlas. It was fantastic to have them. Now I don't really run the Kirak missions because the Kirak missions don't inherit any of your Atlas tree, and the Atlas tree is so powerful that I just don't think it's worth my time. But at the start, I definitely think this node was fantastic, and this node is fantastic. So what happened was when I finished here, I got the strong boxes and the harbingers. I ended up unspecking out of the harbingers because, like I said before, they were terrible. Strong boxes are fantastic, and these little nodes here, unfortunately, I can't take this one just because of how the pathing works and how many points I have. But um, these proc each time you open a box, so you can get it more than once. So I had a diviner's box that I actually opened up 3 times back when I had all 3 of these, which is fantastic. It feels great to just open a strong box more than once, especially one of the really good ones like a operative strong box or an arcade strong box. Like it just feels good. So these pathing nodes are really good. So I'm definitely glad I came in here and just went whoop whoop. And then I didn't end up taking the exiles like I thought I might have to, because I had a corrupted 6 link drop from the strong boxes. And later on, I had from just like a random ritual, I got my natural 6 link, which is pretty crap. The stats are pretty crap, but I just rolled it until it had like a decent amount of life plus resists. I wasn't really like hurting for anything else, so that was fine. So as I already had my corrupted 6 link, I didn't feel like I needed to get the rogue exiles, even though they're right here. And I came over here, and I initially got these the sulfite infusion like pretty much right away after I got the strong boxes and everything. I went for the sulfite infusion, which just gave me a nice steady supply of sulfite too, on top of all the Nikos missions. And then I did try taking the mining byproducts and then blowing through a bunch of my low-level Nikos missions because I was saving the red ones to sort of help with progression. And I blew through about like 10 or so and didn't get a proc. I know obviously it's 10%, so that's not great because you get what, three nodes a map, but I didn't get one, and these travel nodes are terrible. I just respec out of it immediately and ended up taking these abyss nodes, which are fantastic for 2 points. I didn't end up getting these because I mean, A was bugged, so it was 100%, not a 20%, which is good if you want it, but the Abyss socket actually takes up a suffix, so it didn't end up being very good. And yeah, I was fine just taking these two for basically doubling the amount of monsters in the abyss, and then they grant 50% more experience. It was fantastic, especially for leveling in the map progression. And then this here, Underground Kingdom, is just 30% more juice on the monsters. So you're now at 100%, 130% increased abyss. And then this here, especially when you're rolling the maps or like just even just alking them, usually gives you around like 10 to 20% chance to have an abyss, and this does stack on top of the map device. I'm not sure if it works with scarabs. I hope it does because I've been running with scarabs, but yeah, it's been so abyss has been really fun with that, just because of how much experience and mobs it grants. And then I ended up picking up a gull. I just had a normal one for like 2C, because initially I was like, oh, this will be fun, like double gulp rocks and stuff, and I was like holding off, but I was just wearing an evasion energy shield, like with life and resist helm anyway, so I was like, ah, whatever, I'll just put a gull on and rearrange, fix my resists, so I can just, make my resist work and wear that. And I think the last time I wore a gull was when they first fixed Trickster, or when they changed Trickster with like Ghost Shrouds and stuff. So I remember it being kind of fun, so I put it on. It's been really fun, and ended up pretty much immediately specking into these. Sadly, the double shrine effect doesn't work with the gull, with the lesser shrines. So that's it's not as broken as I was hoping it would, but it's still pretty powerful. And you get for these 3 points, you get a flat 50% increased shrine effects on top of the gull's natural 75% increased chance effect. Sorry, and your actual shrines that you get from this node over here give you a double bonus. And you can also get other shrines like Gloom Shrine on the Sextant mod, which basically gives you, because of all the increased shrine effect you have, it basically just gives you Profane Bloom from Occultist, so everything blows up when you're running around with a Gloom Shrine. It's actually insane. Um, And then these little nodes here give you more duration, so it's just 75% increased duration. I ended up just like coming in picking these, and then later on when I had a spare point, I just threw it over in there, even though it was like not good for pathing, just because it's a nice quality of life. Because these and the shrine effect do affect the lesser shrines. They just don't get affected by buffs that like say like actual shrine. So like when it says shrines, it doesn't affect lesser shrines. So like you don't get the double effect. They don't have a chance to be a coveted shrine, and obviously the lesser ones aren't guarded by monsters and stuff. But lesser shrines don't count as shrines, but they're affected by shrine buffs. So if you're not running a build with the Gull, I probably wouldn't bother taking these, and instead of like these four, just path through here, and you just don't take these, um, which gives you a ton of points. But I think abusing the Gull and shrines is a lot of fun. So yeah, so that was initial progression, and then I came up over here. I actually did path through here because as I was pathing through here, people started to sort of figure out what the Eaters of World stuff did. So the how it works is the shrines in tier 14s and up or so will spawn, and you get to pick one of two options that'll like give you a debuff and then give either the map mobs or your the map boss a chance to drop something and also like a buff, or it'll give you a debuff, like one or the other. But it'll always give them like a chance to drop something, and so one of the more powerful ones is scarabs. So like mobs have a chance like 1, 2, 3% to just drop a scarab, and it says Eldritch like influenced mobs, but it actually counts all mobs on the map. So including the mobs from like the League mechanic or mobs you spawn from Abyss and stuff, they all have like a 2% chance to drop a scarab, which is insane. So I basically just flooded in scarabs, and then you have the scarab strong box too, which just vomits out scarabs, which has been really nice. And then this right here, this is the only one I'm taking. These don't really matter because the implicit stuff that drops isn't great. A lot of the stuff can drop as like grand and stuff, but it's like it's such a low chance to get a good one that these don't really matter. But the 50% increased chance to find an altar is huge, 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 huge. Let's make sure I'm not
God
AFK
Slayer.
here.
God Slayer. Good day.
So I did initially actually pass through here and then grab this, and then I also grabbed the corrupted gaze here. I think this is kind of a bait. It's 4% increased chance to get, or 3% chance to get an abyss, which is fine because it stacks with the map device. But the these ones, I was initially very excited for these because the gems you get from the trove have they're smart rolled like the old talismans, so they tend to have like similar mods as synergistic mods. But what I ended up finding happening is when it does proc, which is pretty frequent, especially with the number of abysses I'm getting. I actually just like unspec'd out of this today. Um, is it's usually like 3 to 4 good mods and then just a couple like icing on the cake mods. So it's not really like 5 good mods. So like the best one I have here for my build was this has three essentially claw attack elemental damage and crit multi. So all 4 of those mods are good. And then the evasion rating is just sort of like whatever. Like if that had rolled as like life or something, obviously it's fantastic. But it's usually I found as the ones that drop. I've had like quite a few of them drop. That was just the one that was really good for my build. Um, it's usually essentially just a good like 3-4 mod duo with a little bit of icing on top. So I actually unspec'd out of this and came down here just for more juice, but that was for later. So as I was progressing, I sort of kept this, and then this mob's here. The nodes are just rarity on the boss, and then bosses dropped additional basing currency. I didn't really notice this, so I'm not 100% sure if it works. But it could be that some of the lower tier currencies just get filtered automatically. But the thing I liked about this was it dupes the bosses, and it says 20. In my experience, it was actually closer to like 40, but I think I was just really lucky. And the other boss does drop loot, and it makes the map boss obviously like a little harder. But most of the map bosses aren't too hard, especially because I was abusing shrine effects, and eventually I got an inspired learning, which just made things a total breeze. But basically, just take this if you want to dupe mass unique boss rewards. Um, So it could be really good for unique maps, but I know unique maps were bugged and didn't have like Atlas passives affecting them. So I'm not sure how good it would be there. But I ended up unspecking it just because the double bonus of the map bosses wasn't sort of as powerful as the all the stuff I was getting from actual uh, like the actual creatures in the map. Um, but yeah, it's definitely good if you want basically to have a bunch of duplicate map bosses. I didn't end up getting any Legion nodes. I just didn't really feel like farming it. I'm not very good at farming Legion. Just like mentally, I don't know. It's a lot harder for me to just sort of like run around and try to catch all of this, as opposed to something like Abyss where you just follow it and just kill everything that pops out. So I didn't end up doing that, even though like the really good nodes are right here. And I came up over here. I did spec into these nodes, so I ended up getting the currency one first, and then later on I got the div one just when I had like spare points. Um, it's okay. The problem is the quantity of items only affects the actual strongbox loot, like the stuff that pops out of the strongbox. It doesn't affect any loot from the monsters spawned by the strongbox. And because of the Eater of the Worlds altar and all that stuff, a lot of the mobs you're killing are actually insanely valuable for the loot they drop. So this isn't as good as it looks. And then the increased chance is like good, but it's already such a low chance to actually hit those rare strong boxes that it's not really worth it. And I ended up unspecking out of it just because I wasn't pathing here for the sulfite stuff anymore. And it just became too many points to try and get this. When I was already pathing here anyways, it was a little better, but I think these aren't that good just because the increased chance, it's not like it's flat, it's just increased on what it already is. So I wasn't too impressed with that. It was fun to get like the double currency and the double div cards, but I didn't get any like huge things off of it. So overall, I wasn't very impressed with these nodes, but I did try them out, see how they were. And I came up here. I did end up taking this as soon as I unlocked the Void Stones, which was probably it was a bit later, because you have to kill um, the Eater of the Worlds and who's these two? Yeah. So it's Eater of the Worlds and the Searing Exarch. I actually really like the Searing Exarch fight. It's a lot of fun. But the versions you initially fight from just doing the quests and stuff they're super easy. The ones you farm from these are apparently a lot harder. So it's pretty easy, even for like a casual player, pretty bad gear, not a bossing guild, to just get these first two. The other two are from Uber Elder and the Maven, which are a lot harder fights and require pretty significant investment of currency just to get a chance to fight them. So I was just like, whatever, I'm just not going to go for those. So two Watchstones has been fine. Obviously, it's not ideal, but it's been fine. And I'm sustaining the Sextons pretty easily. But as far as the actual like late game stuff I ended up doing, so I got these. I don't think these like work, the additional map currency, but I'm not 100. They just didn't feel like they did much. Um, the Sextant mod doing one use is good though, but it just ended up being so many points that because I wasn't pathing here anyway anymore when I sort of reshifted all this to start farming Delirium that didn't really work out. I came up here and picked up these nodes, especially this one. So it gave me basically a 5% chance for a Guardian map to drop. I got like one. No, actually, I think I got two, and they were both kind of crappy. One of them was like a Chimera thing that I just sold for 10C because I didn't want to run it, and the other one, I don't know. I think I just didn't bother running it, and I don't even know if I sold it or just left it in a tab somewhere. Um, but yeah, they weren't as valuable as I thought they were going to be. I guess because a lot of people just wanted to map like me, and they didn't want to do the bosses. So I wasn't very impressed with these nodes, especially because none of these have text on them. Because I wasn't farming any bosses, so this is just four nodes that don't have text on them. I didn't end up getting any Maven stuff. I just sort of did the Maven naturally. Didn't like need the double Mavens or anything. Um, I did end up taking this later on, just because I was already doing like Gull Shrine abuse, and it was okay, but it's only a 10% on the actual shrines, which you usually only have one or two in an area, and it's just okay. Like it's a pretty big quantity rarity buff, but for like how many points it would cost me now, I just don't think it's worth it. It was fine when it only cost four, though. I would say that. Um, and then I think the last thing all of these passive nodes are really good. The 2% increased effect of modifiers because they also affect like how much pack size and stuff you get. So I was initially pathed like all the way over the top here, and it's kind of unfortunate I don't have them anymore. But I think I'm farming enough that I don't mind the lack of like monster quantity anymore. I got these. I think the scarab ones, like I never saw a scarab from a boss other than when I had an altar. So I think how these work, because it's an additional scarab, is when they drop a scarab, there's a like 4% chance for them to drop another. which is I guess some synergy with the Eater of World stuff, but usually you don't want to be clicking the map boss stuff. You want to be clicking the mob stuff and then just killing a ton of mobs. So I wasn't very impressed with that because I never saw a scarab on a boss other than from a world altar. And 10% chance to not consume scarabs. A, I never got this to proc, and B, there are so many scarabs this league. It's actually insane how many scarabs get vomited out. Um, that even if it had proc, it's like it's only worth it if you're already here because you're getting all of these, and then you're using like winged scarabs because everything else is like 4 or 5C max, and most of it's just like one, and you're usually just gonna be self-sustaining. Um, just by having so many drop and then re-rolling the lesser ones with the Orbs of Horizon to just re-roll the Shaper of the Elder and the Bestiary Scarabs. So I don't really need a reason to uh, preserve Scarabs just because of how many get thrown at you per map. So I initially did do exactly what I had planned out, and it was working pretty well. I got through all of my map progression, no real complaints. I did respec out of these and the all the Harbinger stuff. I never ended up going for these or the Rogue Exiles, but I took out all the Harbinger stuff. I went to Abyss pretty early. I got this Eater of Worlds stuff as soon as I was doing the Eater of Worlds like quest progression and stuff because of how powerful the altars are. And I got a bunch of this, a bunch of the passive nodes, and a bunch of this. I think you can't really go wrong as long as you get at least 3 of these map nodes. Um, to find map sustain was pretty fine, and I'd probably definitely get the at least the 1 point for the commissioned officer for the one free one a day. And the additional 3% is nice. Obviously, it's only 1 point, so it was really nice. And map sustain was really good, no complaints. Um, and I was able to get through everything. And then I played around with a ton of points. I probably respect like 80 or so. And this is what I finally ended up with. So what I'm currently running is just tier 16. Tier 16. I've been doing Strand, but you can do whatever you want. If you don't have any Watchstones, Port's a lot better. Sorry, Voidstones. Port's a lot better because it can drop Saint's Treasure. I can have one of those, or it trades in for 2 Exalts. And it's a decent enough map. I don't like the boats like that you have to go on the side and stuff, but it's easy enough. It's pretty linear. Um, but with I don't know if you need 1 or 2 Voidstones to get Strand. I think it's just like over here, so it's probably just one. Um, there it is. Yeah, it's probably just one to get this to 16. But I've just been farming Strand, and I kept all the Abyss stuff. I did have this here, but as I said, it's kind of whatever. So actually today I spec'd out of this and I went for these 4. So this pretty much doesn't really matter, but it's basically these 3 points here are to get these 2, where you have 30% total increased monsters on your abysses, and that stacks with this, and that stacks with this. So if you check over here, abysses, uh, 10%, 10%, spawn 160% increased monsters. And that also stacks with the scarabs. So the scarabs here also spawn 50% increased monsters, which means you're getting around a little over 200% increased spawn of monsters on all of your abysses. And because of this, because of the map device, because of the scarabs, you get a ton of those each map, and it's good XP too, and it's really insane with delirium as well. Kind of hard if your build's not great, but I've basically just been abusing sort of the Gold Shrine stuff plus an Inspired Learning, and that's pretty much just been carrying me through all of the map stuff I've been doing. Once I got all of that sorted out from currency and stuff, and because scarabs are so plentiful, I did end up feeling fine to unspec out of these. It was really nice to have these early to do delving, and then I don't need this anymore just because my build got strong enough. It's still, I would say, pretty weak because I've been lazy about upgrading, but once I didn't need this anymore, I unspec'd out of it, and I was planning to do like delirium stuff, so I ended up going the left side of the tree just because it saved like 1 point from going left as a right because the delirium stuff over here. And I ended up respecking into harbingers because it was on the way of stuff I was doing. So like this is only 3, and this only costs 2 because I was gonna grab the essences anyways, and you could path like through the inside here. And I will say harbingers when you're using the map device and scarabs is has actually been pretty good. I've gotten about like an exalt and a half just from having them normally on the map with running like a scarab, and then occasionally getting them on the map device. So my current strategy is I if I don't have a proc from this, which works now, which is 10% for free random craft, I will use Fortune Favors the Brave, which gives me 10% quant pack size rarity, in addition to giving you a random mod. And most of these mods are like really good for my build, especially the tree. So we have Abyss, which is fantastic, Domination, which is fantastic because I'm abusing shrines, Ambush, which is fantastic, Harbingers, which is fantastic. And then Beyond is really difficult, but it's pretty good if you don't like get blown up. Um, Rituals, whatever. Bloodlines is fine. Um, and yeah, it's so I usually just like do this, slam this for 3C, because of the bonus 10%, and you almost always get a really good mod for the Atlas tree. But if I get a free one of 10% on this, I'll just slam that one if it's one of the ones that I like. So like Domination, Strongboxes, Abyss, Harbingers, and it just saves a couple chaos. And I like still having these because A, I use the fortune favors, like B, I like the free chaos I get from this occasionally, and C, having more of the favors map drop is nice. I'm basically flooded with strands. So I ended up taking the Abyss nodes, love the Abyss nodes, the Eater Worlds nodes, these are fantastic. And I went back to Harbinger after I started juicing the maps with actually like a bunch of Harbingers. I think that's the only time it's worth it. The initial one with just one is terrible. And strong boxes are still great. I can't get this one just because of how the pathing works. Saves a point to not get it. But strong boxes are great. Not having to roll them is great. The operative strong boxes are great. Guaranteed one per map. Plus, I'm using a scarab. Plus, you sometimes get it on the map device. It's been fantastic. Take all the shrine stuff. I didn't take these just because A, I don't have the points, and B, you only get like 1 and 2 shrines a map usually. Most of the abuse is just from the shrine effect and the shrine duration. The bonus shrine per map and stuff is just like icing on the cake. It's mostly for just abusing the gull. If you're not using the gull, I'd probably just take all these points out, take all these points out, just come through here. That gives you a ton more points to work with. Gives you like 6 more points. And there's a ton of really cool stuff you can take, like Flash Breach, Rogue Metamorph. I tried this out and it bugged out, so I don't know if it's still fixed. Sometimes the Metamorph just won't die. It'll just sit there at 0 health, not doing anything. That's been a bug in the game since like original Metamorph League, so whatever. But this is like a good 3 points. This is a good 3 points. You can get Rogue Exiles. Um, there's a ton of really cool stuff you can get 3 points. You can get Mortal Fragments. There's a ton of stuff you can get for 3 points. So if you're not abusing the Gull and Trines, you could definitely take out all these. And then I ended up going Essences because I wanted to farm Delirium. So I run those 3 Scarabs because I haven't done a Legion. I don't really plan to, and there's not really like another Scarab would just be like juice, like a Cartography or a Diviner Scarab. Um, So I wanted to come get Delirium stuff. So this is Delirium Mirror, chance for additional reward types. I'd go through the bottom even though it's worse pathing just because it gives you 3% more chance at a mirror. And mirrors are fantastic. It means you don't have to use a Delirium orb on the map essentially. And then these are just like really good. And then I come up here and get all these Delirium nodes just because they give you more splinters and they generate more reward types. And then because I was here, I just picked up these. This doesn't have text on it because I don't farm Searing Exarch, but these 4 give me a total of 20% more pack size on the Influence monster packs, which are when you pop a shrine, a pack of monsters spawns out. So that's just been really good for that. And it doesn't cost me any pathing points because I'm already here. And then similar with pathing, I just picked up all the Essence nodes. Essence, as I predicted, they're super cheap, not worth like selling unless it's like super bulk, and even then they went down a ton just because of how many you get. But I did really underestimate the sheer quantity of essences you get, and they're still nice for crafting, especially when you have a ton left over for free. So I just ended up specking into them because it really doesn't cost me any points. Like it's like 2 points over here, 4 points here, 3 points here, and you get anywhere from like 6 to 12 essences a map. It's actually insane, and all of them are super high tier. Um, So these are just like nodes that are basically don't interrupt mapping at all, and they're basically free, which is why I picked them up. Um, so this is how the tree has been currently. Really happy with it, and obviously you take the essence thing over here, which is why I ended up pathing through this. And I think I mentioned, but because there's so many sulfite scarabs, I ended up unspecking out of all the sulfite stuff, and I can pretty much delve whenever I want because there's so many scarabs. and this has been super juiced. The maps are super juiced. There's a good chance for pretty much everything to happen, and there's a bunch of guaranteed stuff that happens. You get the Strongbox, the Shrine, a Harbinger. You don't have to roll any strong boxes. You always get a double shrine that lets you basically blitz through the map. Um, and these travel nodes are pretty powerful as far as like these are item quant, and then these are map duping, and then these are adjacent maps dropping. So they also help with map sustain. But this is where I am currently. I don't think I could respec it anymore. I'd say the flex points are probably here in the pack size. Um, Again, there's plenty of 3 and 4 stuff you can go and grab on the tree if you want to do that. And if you're not playing shrines with the Gull, you can obviously take those points and put them anywhere. But I'm really happy with this. I don't think I'm going to respec it anymore. I ended up untaking this because I don't do Keurig missions anymore. I just do Juice Tier 16s because Keurig missions don't get affected by the map device. And I'm not really bossing. That's where most of the money in Keurig missions is doing like bosses and stuff. So unspec'd out of that. But yeah, I'm really happy with how the tree turned out. My initial leveling experience coming through here was great. I said the only thing I would change is I wouldn't take the Harbinger nodes. Um, but everything else was great. And then coming through here, I probably wouldn't come through here again to get all of this because even though these mods are good, these ended up being terrible. The 5% chance on a Guardian map didn't end up being very good because they didn't sell for much, and I wasn't planning on doing them anyways. And these were kind of trap nodes, so I'd probably just come over here and get these. Go the same route, just don't take the Harbingers, and yeah, or maybe even go through the left side. I don't know, but definitely getting packed with energy was really good. Oh yeah, I wouldn't be doing Delirium at the start, so yeah, probably still come through the right side, leveling, get the essences, get this. If I have a gull, as soon as you get a gull, you get all the shrine nodes. Um, Probably instantly go to this, and then get all of the map nodes, get the strong box nodes pretty much immediately, and then I'd probably take the abyss nodes and yeah, after that, I'd probably just like go up here and get the Eater World stuff, or go get the Essence nodes. Probably go get the Essence nodes, honestly. But I'm really happy with how it turned out, and obviously I'm gonna do things a little different, but not too differently next time. So I think my other video still works out pretty well, and this is what I'm currently using to juice maps, and it's insane. There's so much scarabs and currency being vomited out of maps, and there's so many monsters in each map. It's actually insane. Just pretty much chiseling and alching the maps. I don't even involve them half the time now, just because don't even need the bonus pack size or whatever. It's super good. So that's how things turned out. Pretty well. I'm just playing like a Lightning Strike Raider, and my gear is crap. Still, I'm just using a bunch of uniques that are fun, like Shadow and Dust and the Gull. Dark Red Vectors are just I've just been too lazy to replace these, honestly. Most of this stuff is just I'm too lazy to replace. Like this is a crap claw. This is really good, but I got it early on. It's kind of hard to find a shield with life, avoid, and suppression on it. But the upgrade to this would be like putting max res on it. So build's fine. Um, for my purposes, it's mostly just carried by an inspired learning, and mapping's been fantastic. My initial regression was great, and this is what I'm doing now, and I'm gonna put this in the description as well. So that's it. That's how it went. It's been a pretty fun league. I'm actually having trouble like tearing myself away to try and like level up in Lost Ark and stuff, but just because I've been having so much fun just blasting through maps and having it all vomit out currency. But GG really outdid themselves with the Atlas tree. I think it's fantastic, and it's a shame they're probably going to nerf it next league, but it's what it is, and I guess enjoy it while you can.